Woo! Let's go. Asal Tante Oso, that bear you all know, out of hibernation to entertain Raider Nation. What's up, fam? I mean, I would be excited to do a show if we had something to talk about. I don't know what we could talk about. Honestly, Alexa, hush. Let's see if she gets that one. She knows what hush means. Come on. Okay, there we go. What's up, fam? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you all tuning in. R8RBEAR, Bear, blah blah blah. Whoa, sorry, I'm like bumping my mic now all of a sudden. So welcome to the show, everyone. I'm not doing my usual shabow just because I wanted to get right to this because we just really have a lot to talk about. I want to answer your questions, and I want to welcome everybody to the show. What's up? Mark Vargas, what's up? Welcome to the show. My champion in the house. SA Big Dog with the silver. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. John the Lion. Leon. What's up, John? Always taking L's, but never catching losses. Jesse Parker. What's up, brother? Oops. I'm like, why am I? Wow. My mic's like giving it to me right now. Hold on. I don't need it that close. All right, there we go. All right, let me keep going here. Bob Standard, what's up, Bob? Welcome to the show. Mike Henderson, what's up? Jason Morales, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Oh, handsome Joe Holman in the house. Oh, okay, you got called into work. Well, I got you, man. I'll keep it interesting. All right, so we know about all the draft picks we've made. I'm going to go over those guys and talk about those guys with you guys. But I was going to talk a little bit about the UDFAs and some of the little names that we signed that I think could end up being, how do I say this? I got to be careful because it's like you make these, I make these predictions, and then sometimes people hold me down on it like it's set in stone or something. And it's like, I believe in what I'm saying, but I mean, would I bet my life on it or, anything like that? No, you know what I mean? Well, never that. I wouldn't bet my car on it. Let me put it that way. So having said that, let me just give you a couple names here. Gary Smith III, defensive tackle, UCLA, big motor, already has the size, big guy. I love that pick because it gives us depth in the middle. We have a couple other signings, and again, we'll go over that in a second, but we have some signings at defensive tackle. We have some guys in the interior. We brought back Booker Thomas, formerly of the Eagles, and he came over to us, and he was great for us. Right when we signed him, you heard nothing but good things from the locker room, from other guys on the team. When he initially signed, they were interviewed and asked what they thought of their new teammate, and they were just basically like, wow. Guy's smart, smiles all the time, knows football. You love that when you hear that about a guy. So very excited about that. Okay, next is Jacob Clark. He's a quarterback. What school was that again? I forgot. Let me see. These are guys are some smaller schools. So Missouri State, Jacob Clark, Missouri State. Saw a little video on him today. I took a little time. I try to get at least a little video in about each one of the guys. So when you guys want to talk to me about it, I can speak to you about it a little bit more intelligently about what you may have seen on video if you watched it, or what I may have seen, because a lot of the video is available to you the same way it's available to me. What I like to think that I bring that's unique as far as spin to the show is that I give you insight into players and what I see as I was a sports and fitness coach for like 15, 20 years. I worked with athletes from all sorts of sports at all levels, pro right down to your mom and, who just wants to lose weight. did all of that. And I like this kid. I want to get back on point. I like this kid. I liked his arm. I like his toughness. I kind of saw the same things in this guy that I saw in AOC, but he's, how do I say this? He's cleaner than AOC. His footwork is a little better. his ball maintenance. I call it ball maintenance, and just meaning basically, just meaning how well do you protect the ball when you're feeling pressure and you're running around, or you just take a snap and everything's fine. Where do you keep the ball? Do you have two hands on the ball? Are you screwing around with your microphone like I am? Sorry, my microphone is so stupid. I know you guys can still hear me. It's making it go out in and out for me. Which is unimportant. I don't need to hear my own voice to do the show. Ellis Irving, what's up, man? Welcome to the show. Jason Morales, I see you there. Raiders! Now, I'm going to say this again because I know I do have at least one or two people watching that have been like newcomers to the show. Mike Henderson, what's up? I see you there. The reason why I can say Raiders like I just did, or I say it like I say it, where I say Raiders! See, that's my way. Now, the in the beginning is something that I stole from a character. I've never told this story. Okay? So I'm choosing to only share this with 17 people right now. Or wow, however many it is. The number keeps going up and down. But my point is, I got it from a character that was kind of similar to Wolverine, but instead of claws that came out of his arm, his fingers were like liquid metal, and he could make them turn into sharp objects or make them very nice and normal like regular fingers. But then in a moment's notice, he could just go like that, and they would grow and get sharp and like ching ching and harden and so on. And I always thought he was cool. And then he had an Indian war cry because he was part Native American, and he would go, hey, and he had this like crazy shout. And I loved how he did it. He would just do that. He would just literally make a sound that had nothing to do with what was going on and then go in. And then I noticed the guy, Papa Raider, the broadcaster who was with us for a long time, and then he went to the Niners. He's with the Niners now. He used to do that touchdown, and he would drag the R. And I didn't want to steal that from him, but I just thought I'd do it my way and it'll be cool. So that's it. Not that that's super interesting. I just, so I thought maybe one of you might have wondered why I do it like that. Ellis, I'm doing great tonight. I'm super excited about these UDFAs. Let me get back to it. All right, hang on. Let me get to, wait a minute. Let me get this. I'll make sure I'm reading this right. Yeah, okay, that's the other quarterback from Baylor. Sawyer Robertson. Again, fiery guy. I like the intensity. Just the little bit of video I got to see of these guys. I really liked Sawyer Robertson. Doesn't mean he's going to make the team. Doesn't mean he's going to be a great quarterback. But I like the guy. I saw something with that guy. And you guys know how I am. And if you don't, I'll tell you real quick. I like to pride myself on being able to see talent. Now, my mom, this is a weird story. Again, another one I haven't told anyone. Why am I doing that tonight? Telling everyone all these personal things. I don't know. Just feel like it. I'm in a good mood. But my mom used to go to the horse races a lot when I was young. And she was never like, like obsessed with it. You know what I mean? Like it was like degenerate gambling. You know what I mean? Because she would go like once or twice a week. She would take me with her most of the time. And if she won, good. And if she lost, she would just go, oh, well, and we would get in the car and drive home and that'd be it. And I just never saw that as like a fixation or anything or gambling anonymous. And then over time, she just eventually just stopped going. She got too busy. But anyway, long story short, she used to be pretty good at looking at horses. She would actually take me over to the side. So when we would walk into you could see a lot of the horses from the gate. And she would show me that, look at that one. That one's like this. And look at that one. That one's like that. And my mom, I can't tell you I know why she had that much interest in it. You know what I mean? But I think she was just trying to conquer the gambling aspect of it. I don't think she had any interest in the sport. She couldn't tell you any of the riders. She didn't know the owners. She just knew horses. She just felt like she could look at them a certain way and know, okay, that one's a runner. That one's going to win. That one's going to do this, that, or the other. And I think Spytek is starting to look like that guy. I'm saying. Roman Hemby. Now, Roman Hemby is a running back from Indiana. If you make a pot, I swear, Mama Bear, I will marry you. I'll stop messing around. I'm going to put a ring on it. Oh, cool. Thank you, love. I appreciate that. So, anyway, Roman Hemby, nice physical running back, but more importantly, Indiana product, known by our quarterback. That's right. See, because Fernando played with him, there's going to be a nice comfort level there with him on little satellite bubble screens and things like that. If he needs him to block because he knows a blitz is coming, he will trust him. You know what I'm saying? See, sometimes a quarterback doesn't necessarily know if he can really believe in this running back or fullback that's going to be dropping to the right, dropping to the left to protect him in the event that they come with the blitz and there's an extra man. You got to have that guy that can stand him up and give the quarterback that extra second and a half. It doesn't have to be long. All you got to do is drill the guy in the chest, hold your ground, and then if he gets by you or throws you away, doesn't matter. The quarterback can't have more time than that in this NFL era anyway. That's just facts. Anyway, welcome to the show. If you're just tuning in, please like and subscribe. Try to remember, if you don't like, I may never end up in your algorithm again. It's a thing going around right now. So we have to tell everyone as show hosts like myself, if you don't like the show, it may not end up in your feed again. So look for me there with that little like button. Bear putting foots in them. Todd ECV, good times. Menzel, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. What do you think about the two quarterbacks? John, I was just kind of going in on them, so I know I did answer that, but I'm saying to you, just to give you a little bit more, one of the things about that I like the most is they felt like they were a genuine presence. In other words, these aren't suckers that we just brought in to, hold a position on the roster as an emergency fill for the starter, being no threat to the starter whatsoever. No, I don't like that. If you have a veteran and he's slinging the rock and you're winning rings, he doesn't care who the number 2 is. Doesn't have a thought about it. You know what I mean? Until they get older. Then once they get older, sometimes teams will just pull the trigger because they may have a young quarterback that's been on the roster for 2 years. They've given him all this money. Everyone online is excited about him. You got to get the guy on the field sooner or later. Most guys like Fernando Mendoza, if he really does get a whole year and Kirk Cousins is really allowed to play every single game this season, I'll be impressed. I'll be impressed. I got to be honest with you. If Fernando Mendoza says nothing, okay, and the Raiders just train him and get him ready and then say, hey, kid, we're going to go with Kurt, not because you're not ready. We like you, but we want to make sure you've got everything, all the tools before we put you out on the field. So he says, okay, it's all good. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, conversations we never get to hear, I guarantee you Fernando Mendoza's agent is pushing the Raiders to get him on the field because you got to take the value now while it's hot. He's going to sell the most jerseys. He's going to have all sorts of product and stuff. I already ordered the bobblehead. I did. It's pretty good. If you want the bobblehead of Fernando Mendoza, you better move now because I'm telling you, there's a special one from the draft where he's wearing a suit and he doesn't have, all the Raider gear on. I think he has the hat on, or maybe he's just hair. I don't know. I've only ordered it. I don't actually have it yet, but it's on its way. But it's special because it's not where he's got the Raider gear on. He looks like he did when he answered the phone with his parents when we called. It's pretty dope. But get it now because once they stop making that there, I don't think they're going to make it anymore. That was the implication I got. And I have 2 kids that used to work for the warehouse for pop art, bobblehead things, collectibles. And they have a base right here in Arizona. And I had 2 kids working there at one point. Henny Blair! What's up, my brother? I got to be a little bit louder because that's my brother from all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. What's up, my brother? Keep holding it down for Raider Nation in the UK. Kenny Blair, that's my guy right there, contributing coin to the show. Appreciate the love. Remember, coin shared with the show goes directly to charities that we work with all over the world, and it also helps us to pay for stuff that we put on the show. I got another light. I've got a new program, blah, 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 blah. So it's pretty cool. Well, I shouldn't say new program. I updated the one I have. Are the Raiders having a contract dispute with one of the rookies we drafted? Jason Morales, I wouldn't go as far as saying a dispute. What happens sometimes now, well, I shouldn't say sometimes, because it happens every year pretty much, at least with one, maybe more athletes where they have questions about the language in a contract. Now, if the language in a contract has the player or the agent of the player concerned about whatever restrictions there may be implied on the player, then they sometimes will hold on the signing, even though there's in effect like a signing day. All the young guys come in and they sign their contracts because you want to try to get them all under the banner one day, maybe 3, maybe 4 days tops. You get that last guy, you get him signed, it's out of the news. But and that's what this will be. If it's not done already, it will be probably tomorrow. It's really, I know it's nothing more than language in the contract. And honestly, though, that usually relates to injuries and what the Raiders' control of his contract becomes should he have, like, say, an Achilles tear, or they could say an injury, a grade 3 injury. That means any kind. So now it could be his arms, his legs, his back, whatever. If it's that severe, they can get out of the contract, only owe him a certain amount of money and get out. And they may not like that. They may basically say, you know what, okay, if we have to accept that, instead of saying you'll give us 20% of our signing bonus, we should get 50% of our signing bonus, that kind of thing. John, and I hope I answered your question when you asked me about the 2 quarterbacks, because I'm honestly saying I'm excited about them. I like the fact that, again, they're going to put a little pressure on Fernando. Not a lot, because obviously these are 2 guys behind him, and he's behind Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying? We know that's the hierarchy, and we know he doesn't have any problem with it. And if Fernando has any problem with it, he hasn't voiced it, and neither has his agent. They're basically completely on board with everything thus far. So I got to believe that he believes, and I know I would do this, I'm going to get all the money anyway. So what do I care if I don't get to play year 1? I have to sit there, hold a clipboard, and watch the other guy throw the rock. So what? I mean, I know guys want to play. I'd want to play. But at the same time, I would see the benefit of getting better as a result of watching someone who not only is already pretty good, but has shown a knack for seeing moments to be great and not hesitating to step up and make the play, be it whether it's a scramble or a play fake and roll out and throw one. That is in Kirk Cousins, and he showed it at multiple stops. So the guy can play. I think it would only be good for Fernando. But I also don't have a problem if they say, hey, we think Fernando's ready. Week 8, we're putting him in. Maybe Kirk Cousins gets off to a bad start. Maybe we let him go 4 games and suddenly we're 0-4 and they go, all right, that's it. Or we're 1-3, that kind of thing. And they just say, that's it. Out of respect to him, they give him that many games. But after 4, if we're losing, you got to pull him. And I would agree. Just put Mendoza out there. It's not reinventing the wheel. Okay. Yes, these kids are not ready for NFL football, but it's still football. They know how to play football. Now they have to get over the fear. They have to get over the speed. They have to get over learning all the terminology and understanding what it means on the fly, because you have a clock timing you on everything, on every play. And the moment one finishes, you're right back on the clock again. No time to think. Just here's the play. 23 right, 7 scat, 43 spider, 11. You know what I mean? All that jargon. And he's got to go, oh, okay, yeah, we're doing this. You know what I mean? And in truth, the scary thing about this offense that Gary Kubiak's going to be working him into is that it goes into a play almost, and this description is going to be weird for a second, but bear with me. Bear with me. R8RBEAR. But the idea of a quarterback being able to walk up to the line with as many as 5 plays. Okay. Now, normally you see a quarterback take 1, maybe 2. If it's a veteran and he's really smart, maybe he goes into the huddle with and comes out with 3 plays that he knows he's going to go to, something deep, something safe, and something just to get the ball out of his hands quick, like a bubble screen. He may audible to any one of those three things. Well, they want to go to 5 and have a guy go out there at quarterback, and at some point, once he's really got the whole playbook invested, he'll be able to do it. In other words, right now, you put whoever out there, even Kirk Cousins, he's going to have Kubiak in his ear saying, okay, we're running play this. And Kubiak's going to tell him that. Kirk's going to say, okay, start running that play. And then if Kirk doesn't like it and starts to check down, he'll still have coach in his ear. He could say, okay, well, let's go to number 2, blah, 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 play. And he goes, okay, blah, 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 play. Let's go and bam. They want to do that with 5 options. I don't know how many of you know football, but my mind is blown by that. I mean, there really was kind of an unwritten rule. You didn't want to make your quarterback's head go, blah, you know what I mean? Trying to get him to understand 10,000 plays in the playbook. They don't care now. You got to not only know the play, you got to know the variables of the play. You got to know the adjustments to that play and the adjustments to the adjustments while you adjust them. It's ridiculous. R8RBEAR! Mama Bear, do you know why they call coffee Joe? Do you know why they call coffee Joe? I appreciate that. I bet most of my audience didn't hear you say the answer. That way I don't have to repeat it and get into trouble. This is a family show. Why did we bring in a quarterback? Is AOC going to be gone? Oh, Joe, no, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. If I'm not mistaken, I think we may have already moved him, but I'm not positive. I didn't look that up before we came to game time. I've been busy on with the UDFAs and the sign and who we signed and why it's important who we signed and so on and so forth, trying to really get myself into speed with everyone we brought on board and what's interesting about each one of them. And I'm going to keep going. Again, I did something I don't normally do tonight. I don't know if you noticed, but I ate up the time that like 5-10 minutes that I use doing the broadcast and say the medal round and all those things. I cut all that out tonight because I just really wanted to be able to talk to you guys back and forth about these players, what we did at certain positions, and what it could mean moving forward for the Raiders. The reason I say that is because I am intensely excited about every single move we made. Let me be clear. I mean, every single decision we made was top tier. Okay. We have last time I checked, it was 27. I'm sure it'll reach 30, but ESPN, Pro Football Focus, Bleacher Report, on and on and on. All these different .coms that rate the draft and who did the best. Almost every single one of them unanimously had us as the second best team in the entirety of the draft. And now they're basically saying, when they look at what we did after that, to only within a few days sign 17 more guys as UDFAs, and they all look like brawlers, talent, guys that are going to come on and genuinely compete. That sounds weird, doesn't it? A team is going to actually bring in guys and make other guys feel like their job's not safe. And if you don't play your best, you're out. Wow. So why the hell does Malcolm Kuntz still have a job? Can we Can we please get better than Malcolm Kuntz? Please? Wait, what? Yeah, I know. We brought in Quiddy Pay. Love it. And we got rid of Tyree Wilson. Thank Jesus. Okay. Now I want to be clear, and I am being very straightforward with you guys right now. Okay. I do not dislike Tyree. I do not think he's a bad guy. I don't think he was a bad Raider. I think he's not a good football player. And I don't know another way to say it. If you look at guys at the college level, and I can give you Tyree Wilson, and I'm trying not to brag, I'm patting myself on the back, but I know people are watching my show right now that remember me saying this about that guy. I know you do. Before we even signed Tyree, I said, and I quote, the guy is Frankenstein. Smash! Yes, he's scary. Yes, he's strong, but he can't move. He's like a slow zombie in The Walking Dead. Everything about him's intimidating. It looks like if he gets there, you're dead, just like a zombie. But the zombie is like limping toward you. All right, maybe I don't like the guy. I mean, I am ripping him kind of hard. But all I'm saying is he can't play football at this level. He can't. And I love the idea of people saying, oh, they can recycle him. He'll go over to the Niners, or he'll go to the Chicago Bears, or someone like that, and they'll do this, that, and the other. Man, we traded that guy, and we actually got a pick for him. I can't even remember what it was. You know why? Because I don't care. I don't care. And you know why? Because everyone knew that we weren't high on Tyree Wilson anymore. So only one of two things was going to happen. He was either going to, A, get fired and kicked off the team, or they were just going to let his contract run out and let him become a free agent and leave, which in effect is the same thing. And so for them to be able to get someone to give them a pick for a guy they knew the Raiders weren't high on, would probably just let go at the end. I was impressed by that. I don't care what round we got for him. I'm like, that's impressive for a guy that teams want to negotiate down. And I can't remember exactly what it was. I apologize. I'm a show host. I should know that. I don't have all the numbers in front of me, but I think it was a third or fourth round pick we got for Tyree Wilson. And if that's the truth, that's plenty for me. I mean, what has he done to live up to even get a pick back that high? You know what I mean? A sack here, a sack there. I mean, effort with no success, but effort. He plays, but he's not flexible. He can't bend on guys. You know what he is? You know that vision you get of a bouncer that's just ginormous at a nightclub and he's covering the door. He's so damn big, you can't even see the door. And then you're little and you're trying to go like this to juke by him and get to the door. No, it's the reason why everyone's laughing at that scene is because the guy will never get by the guy. He's too big. I believe they did that skit on Martin Lawrence's show back in the day. I'm showing my age. It was funny. Can you give my Cubs, Madden and Bryn Tatum, a shout out? Hi, Madden and Bryn. What's up, girls? Hi, Raiders! Okay, listen, Madden, Bryn, listen. When you go to school or daycare or anything like that, you make sure you let them know, hey, you know who my friend is? My friend is the Raider Bear. It's true. You just, anytime you want, you do that. And you tell your dad to pull up this video. No. As far as the Raider Bear, Madden and Bryn, oh, we're tight. That's my girls. Love you guys. Yes, the running back from Indiana, Mark Vargas. I kind of already went into that, but I want to keep going because I want to go on everything everyone says. I'm going to try and touch everyone's comment tonight. I promise. I'm going to touch all over your comments. We're touching no comments. Deadpool joke. Hello, princess.
No comments being touched.
Hashtag daughter dad. Ah!
Oh, yeah, I got to show off my shirt because it's cooler than yours.
Say hi to Madden and Bryn, too.
Hello, Madden and
Bryn.
Okay.
Yes. Isn't that nice?
Like the game Madden?
Yeah, exactly. Ah, see, he's a real Raider fan.
I don't know if you can read that.
Dubbed his daughters Raider stuff. Oh, what does it say? No, don't ask me to read it. Go.
I can't read it.
You can't even read it?
No, look at it.
If you don't know what it says on your own shirt, you're grounded.
Oh, I think it's dirty.
Something's going wrong. How are you graduating from college and you don't know what's on your own shirt?
It's dirty ghetto kids. That's what it is. I was a dirty ghetto
Question
kid.
still stands. I love your face. Okay. Mark Vargas, as you can see when you say, how's the family? It's doing quite well. Troy Gill, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Kenny Blair, always there for Raider Bear. Appreciate the love, brother. Jesse Parker, my fashion designer. Kenny Blair said, what do you think will get the start on the right side of the O-line? Oh, Kenny, I don't know. It's kind of early, but I don't know. But I'll be honest with you, I'm not concerned about it at all. I mean, not at all. Not with the amount of talent we just brought in. One of these guys is going to stand out. You guys have to remember this. It's hard to think this way right after the draft because they program us to think about where was the guy drafted? What school does he go to? What's his 4.3? Don't get caught up in all that entirely. All of those things are interesting. But we also have to remember that no matter what those numbers say, there is always a guy who comes out of the shadows that no one really had as a dark horse pick to become not only a player in the league and latches on with a squad and is, important to their team, but is, borderline becoming a star. There are guys in this draft that are going to come out throughout the league. I'm convinced that this draft was shadow way better, low key way better than we gave it credit for. Way better. I mean, if you go back, just stop and go back, and you can go on YouTube right after my show. It's all over YouTube. There's videos showing every single player we picked up round by round, and it looks like genius. Tough guys, pedigree, smart, a lot of them seniors, a lot of them real good. Obviously it's within their division and it's a lower division. But when you're the big dog of a lower division, you can come into the NFL and make plays. I have a dark horse I've already picked. I'll give you his name in a second, but I absolutely love this guy. And I love this draft. I love this draft. I don't understand how they could even say it's second. I don't think this is a second place draft to anyone else's draft. No way. What we did with our quarterback, obviously that goes without saying. But the safety, the linebackers, the defensive tackles, the corners, the kid from Tennessee. Oh my God. That kid from Tennessee, guys, the corner from Tennessee, they think he really should have been looked at as the best defensive back in the entirety of this draft. And we got him in the 4th round. We got him cheap. He slid by a bunch of other teams. I don't understand that. Now, I know some of you may already know the story about the surgery. So for those of you who don't know about the surgery, I'm going to tell you about it. But for those of you who do know about it, still hang in with me. Don't feel like I'm going to bore you because I might have something you haven't heard yet. Here we go. So the corner from I keep saying the corner from Tennessee. I don't remember his name, so I should just go to it and just bring up his name. Okay, Jermod McCoy. Jermod McCoy was considered by most people in this draft to be top first round defensive back off the board for sure. So that's why for him to slide all the way to 4th, it had to have been something really bad, right? Now, when I heard about it, I assumed it was going to be arrests or something with guns or something with a girlfriend and she called 911 or, just something like that. Car accident. I don't know. But instead, it's none of the above. He had to have a surgery. And after he had that surgery, there was a very specific part of that surgery that had to be done to this kid because it's kind of experimental. And I'm not joking. It's where they now they call it a plug, but the doctors that I went online and I was listening to, and I would offer you, go ahead and just go online and look it up. Just say put in bone plug surgery, go. And you'll get all sorts of people talking about why you need to do it, who are the best surgeons in the country that can do it, et cetera, et cetera. Now, the kid did have a very good surgeon. I know that. And then on top of that, the plug is more like a screw that they make out of bone. And the reason they do that is 2 things. One, the screws in the past would have had to have been removed, or they would have to use ones that they felt like would degrade or dissolve over time. But things like that, it can get in your bloodstream and get you sick and all that other stuff. So they didn't like that. So they tried prosthetics, all these different things. And they settled on a bone plug, which is basically when you just take a piece of bone and you treat it and shape it like a screw going in like you're just screwing it into a slot. Now, the teams were upset with the idea of picking him and taking a risk on him because they feel like that surgery is too risky. That if the plug doesn't work correctly, or if he re-aggravates, re-injures the exact same injury and it affects the plug, then that could be looked at as a busted player. Because now you're going to lose probably a year with the guy in rehab. Then he has to go through all the medical stuff with the Raiders, both going out and coming back in. He's got to go to the surgeon again and do some other experimental surgery again. And then now, obviously, and I mean, anyone knows that anytime you do an experimental surgery or any surgery of any kind on the exact same place twice, your odds of success the second time are much lower than the first time. You know, now we're not on the second time with the kid. He's on his first. But they feel like that there's going to be something wrong with that. He's going to aggravate it. It's too much risk. The Raiders said, no, that's too much value for a kid who's professional, who came to his Raider interview and blew the Raiders out of their seats, I should say, and basically said, I work with my surgeon. Everything has gone perfectly. He's never missed follow-up appointments. Now, guys, recognize that's huge. Why is it huge? Because young players are notoriously known to be late for follow-up rehab sessions, if they even show up at all, because it doesn't get reported, because the rehab center gets in trouble with the team if they tell that kind of stuff. So if the player doesn't show, they just deal with it. And then if the player does show another time, then they work with them. But the point is the players come and go. Okay, they're pros now. They're wealthy. They're famous. They can push these people around, and they do. He's not only is he not doing that, he brought it up to the Raiders. I'm going to all my sessions. I'm working with my doctor. I get regular checkups. I get regular, x-rays. He is on this. And personally, I love that, because that's exactly what I would do. No matter what team I was joining, I would want them to know I'm taking my health 1,000,000% with 1,000,000% importance, because I know what you're going to pay me. I need to be able to do my job and do it at a high level. You saw me in college. You know what I can do. Now, trust me that I'm going to be able to do it. I'm going to take care of my body, and I'm going to be a great Raider. I'm pumped. I'm pumped. I won't lie. I'm excited for him. I really am. Jesse Parker, let me put your question up real quick here. He says, are they going to sign a veteran wide receiver? We already have, but it wasn't a name guy like a Keenan Allen. But do I think there's a chance they sign Keenan Allen? I would say no. Honestly, no. Maybe if it was 3 years ago and we were in this exact same situation and we were getting Keenan Allen from 3 or 4 years ago, then maybe. But not now. I think Keenan Allen is a great wide receiver that's on his way down. So whatever you're paying him for what he used to do and hoping he can still give you something. Honestly, to be honest with you, that's what the Raiders have done for decades with guys. They brought in guys that the rest of the league says they're done. The player says, Al Davis, I'm telling you, I got more. I can give you more. I'm telling you, I can play a couple more years. And then we give that guy a shot. You know what I mean? The Raiders are that way. And I think Mark Davis even carried that forward. I really do. But having said that, in this instance, it's a wide receiver. You know what I mean? We usually would do that with, linebackers, defensive linemen, safety, that kind of thing. But wide receiver? Obviously Tim Brown, Jerry Rice, right? We had them when they were in AARP. Only the old guys got that joke. But we're the Raiders. That's what we do. But something makes me nervous about Keenan Allen. I just feel like we'd be paying for his pass. And I like Naylor. I like the kid Naylor that we brought in. I like the tall wide receiver of Fernando Mendoza's teammate that we brought in from Indiana. Really like him a lot. So I feel like we may have addressed wide receiver pretty well in this regard. But do I believe it's still possible that they look for a guy? Yes. We brought in a kid I can't remember the university, but his name is Malik Benson. He runs a 4.33 40. Let me repeat that. He he runs a 4.33 40-yard dash. Guys, that's Olympics. That's like coming in fourth at the Olympics. That is fast. Okay. And so now if the guy's got hands, it can play a little bit. And I watched tape on him and he can, and he does. And I really like this guy. He reminds me of a wide receiver that played back in the day named Isaac Bruce. Isaac Bruce was just not the fastest guy, not the tallest guy, but he had incredible footwork. He made guys, get lost in their back pedal, almost like using a crossover on the basketball court. And then he would shake them, go right, shake them, go left, shake them, hesitate, come back. And he had so many footwork moves where he could leave you. I feel like the guys that we brought in, I feel like some of these guys that we brought in are really nice, but Malik Benson specifically, a burner, a guy that's going to take the top off every time. Fernando's not going to be afraid to let it go because he knows he's got a coach that's going to be telling him, this is what we want to do. I already did it in Seattle, won a Super Bowl. Now I'm here with the team with the Mad Bomber in their legacy of Hall of Fame history. The Mad Bomber, okay? We basically invented making the deep throw a real thing. Most teams only would do it as a last-ditch resort to win a game, that kind of thing. Obviously, the Hail Mary. We made it a weapon. Al Davis, in my opinion, was the first to truly turn it into a weapon. Again, not that other teams didn't throw deep balls. I'm not saying that. I'm saying the Raiders were the first team, in my opinion, that literally weaponized that play. Not call it once or twice a game. Call it 6 or 7 times in a play. Cliff Branch, Cliff Branch, Cliff Branch. Look it up. We did that. You know what I mean? We see our history of our Raiders and we see the stats and we get so in awe, but we don't see a lot of the tape of those old Raiders. And I'm telling you, if you saw Cliff Branch, you'd be shocked. Because we always think of this generation as producing the most athletic athletes of all time. Cliff Branch could play today when he was in his prime, and he would smoke everybody. Everybody. Wouldn't Gruden give Carr packages of 4 plays? Joe Holman, okay, now I want to answer that very intelligently. Yes, but Derek only usually utilized 2. He was known for the fact that he came up there, he did his thing, but he would normally only go through 2 plays. If you notice, back in the day, that's why he never got pressured on the play clock when he was doing that, because he had 4 plays, but he really usually only went with what was called or what he felt like could beat the defense. That's it. He never really went deep into the actual list of calls that Gruden gave him, which I always thought was crazy. Michael Guerrero, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show, though. Let me remind most of you that you're watching, you probably haven't hit like yet. If you would, take a moment and hit the like button. It helps me, and it will help your algorithm to bring me back to your wall so you see me in your feed. Much love. R8RBEAR fan page. No production means no shield on your helmet, right? I honestly, I don't mind that. I don't mind that. I think all the Raiders would step up into that. And then I would love to see our new coach get stuck with having to slap logos on damn near the whole team. That would be dope. Just has to accept it. Kaylee McLaughlin. Kaylee, I'm poking you in real life. Okay, here we go. Poke. Joe Holman, with the UDFAs, did we bring in any defensive ends? We brought in 2 edge defensive ends, Joe. You would be very excited. It was very cool. Let me see if I have them right here. No, we know about Quiddy Pay, but that's not who we're talking about. We did re-sign Malcolm Coons. I mean, I hate him, but he is a defensive end, so we did show a priority there. We also signed Jafari Harvey to the active roster not too long ago. That was, well, no, actually, that was I'm looking at the wrong one. That was 2025. That's way old. Okay, hold on. Let me just do it like this. Okay. Man, and what about Mike Washington? Gosh, I love that pickup, man. I love that pickup. They're already, they always want to go quickly to the thunder and lightning reference. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I'm ready to say thunder and lightning. But Mike Washington has burst. I mean, he's already, I think, 40 wise his run time. I don't know who's better. Who's going to look that up for me? I want to know who has the faster 40 time, Ashton Genty or Mike Washington. I'm willing to guess it's Mike Washington. Dalton Johnson, the safety out of Arizona in the 5th round. I mean, that guy is a brawler. Hezekiah Massis, cornerback, California, the number 175th pick. And that's who we get there. Incredible. And then there's my guy, Malik Benson, Oregon, number 195. I think Malik Benson is going to be legit, man. We're going to look back one day and there's going to be a lot of Benson jerseys. I'm just going out there and saying that. I think there's going to be a lot of jerseys for that guy out there. He can play a little bit, man. I'm just saying. Oh, man, I'm sorry. I don't like to do looking up stuff when I'm doing the show with you guys because I have to look away from the screen and then it's like I lose my rhythm and all that stuff. But let me see if I have, there we go. Here we go. Okay. So, Cayenne Sloan is the edge. I don't know the school cause I'm not seeing it on here. And then also Caleb Oford. Now, Caleb Oford is just a big dude. Caleb Oford on the edge looks like he's the guy that's going to give you mostly some big time bull rushes. But Cayenne Sloan is more of a lighter guy, more in the Max Crosby kind of build, uses more of his hand technique and speed and tries to beat the offensive lineman to his spot and get that bend and get around him, a quality that Tyree Wilson never had coming in even into the Raiders. And I saw it immediately and knew that Tyree would never have success with us. I am more confident with the UDFAs at edge making the team than I was with Tyree Wilson ever bringing us numbers, which he never did. He only even got the amount of time to play and show what he could do because he was a 3rd round pick. So you had to give the guy a chance as a 3rd round pick. But the guy never was going to pan out. Oh, and one last shout out to Tanner Wall, defensive back. He was one of our last UDFAs we signed. He's a little hard-hitting safety. Looks like Hunter Renfrow with blonde hair. But this guy is tough. I mean, a brawler. Think of any little wrestler or little boxer that you really fell in love with because the guy didn't care that he was small. Any little MMA guy that you really like that just tears guys' heads off, that's who this guy is. That's how he plays football. And if you saw him on the street, he looks like a swimsuit model for Gap. If you saw him in street clothes, you would say he's a professional surfer, not a football player. It's not that he's not muscular. He's muscular, but he's just not a big guy. But man, you watch him play football. You pull up his video. Tanner Wall, defensive back. Nice. I'm not saying these guys are going to be stars. I'm not saying they're going to make the team. I'm picking those names to really mention because I feel like I see something there. Cayenne Sloan, edge, and Tanner Wall, defensive back. Look those up. I think those guys are going to be real nice. Watch the video. Tell me what you think. Now, the offensive lineman we signed, Quincy Hughes, that was another steal, another guy that fell further than anyone thought he would. We got him with a beautiful pick. It looked like it was going to be somewhere around where he got picked anyway, was where he was going to go. Most analysts agree that that's another reason why the metrics of this draft make the Raiders in this particular draft look like geniuses, because not only did they find talent, but they found the highest rated talent for the position of importance that they needed round by round by round, over and over and over again. In the round that they were called up to the board, they addressed concerns, gave us at minimum depth, or someone that could become a future starter. Just incredible, incredible job by Spytech and the rest of the brain trust of the Raiders that were in the think tank helping him go through this. And I got to tell you, I'm not ready to get on board right away with all of these people who want to say that our GM is a genius, okay? And that Spytech, look what he's doing. He's a genius. I'm not ready to go there. Now, for those of you, I know you already want to know why, and I will tell you right now, it's very easy, okay? I can't get on board with 2 drafts. Because when you really think about it, no matter how many drafts he gets, one of them was with Pete Carroll. Kind of with Pete Carroll, he had to have been putting some influence. I know Pete Carroll had no power. Okay, we know that. We know Pete Carroll had no power. But the idea that they would completely disregard his thoughts and not go with him on anything, I find that unlikely. The relationship between our former coach and the front office really wasn't that poisonous. The only thing Pete Carroll was upset about, genuinely, well, it was more than one thing, but he was genuinely upset that he wasn't allowed to run the offense he wanted to run. They brought in someone else in Chip Kelly, who, in effect, I mean, even if you are going to overrun what Pete Carroll wants, to bring in Chip Kelly, I mean, I think we can all agree that even if you like Chip Kelly, don't like Chip Kelly, you can admit he is kind of controversial for the fact that sometimes his offense sucks. Sometimes his offense looks unstoppable. One place he goes to, everyone there likes him. The next place he goes to, they want to fire him almost immediately. So even as an analyst, and I'm in my 10th year of doing this, I've never seen an offensive coordinator, except maybe Lane Kiffin. Like, that's all I'm going to do is say his name. If we go, I could do a whole show on Lane Kiffin. But Lane Kiffin is kind of like that, wherever he goes, it feels like a wild card. It feels like a toss-up. And Chip Kelly was definitely that, obviously. And so Pete Carroll basically went into the front office and told Chip Kelly, you keep this between you and me if you want to keep your job. But you run the offense I tell you to run. And that's what he did. And that's why there was beef all year and confusion all year. And sometimes the team was on the same page about certain things and other times they weren't. And so, what are you going to do? I'm sorry if I blacked out there for a moment. My screen blacked out, but it was only for like half a second. So I don't know if you guys even saw it. But also, Kansei Matsuzawa. They call him the Tokyo Toe, and that is the last time I'm going to refer to that nickname. All right, I'll say it one more time to make sure everyone heard it. The Tokyo Toe. Now, they call him that because he's from Tokyo and he's a kicker, so obviously he uses his toe. It's so stupid. I don't God bless the kid for going along with it, because I've never heard him say he doesn't like it. But I saw a couple interviews with him today, and he kicked I think he came in second place for most made kicks in the beginning of his rookie campaign. I don't think anyone's ever kicked as many as he did in the division he was coming from. So the guy's a sensation. He's got a hell of a leg. He's kind of a big guy for a kicker. He's not slight at all. He's tall. He's got thick legs. He's a big boy. I don't know what he weighs, but I know it's not what most kickers weigh, because he just looks like he's a little bit buff. You know what I mean? And I don't mind that. I think that's cool. If he can drill the ball and that helps him, God bless him. But he looks good. I don't know if he's going to win a job, but I'm glad that we took a look at him. I already said about Quincy Hughes, the offensive lineman I was excited about, but I just want to also say Isaiah Jada, Jatta, Isaiah Jada or Jata, offensive lineman, incredible. Real good leverage. He doesn't pancake guys, but I like to say this. It sounds like a joke when I say this, but he's a dancer. You know what I mean? He stands them up, and you know how like it is when you have a private dance with a pretty girl and you just sort of hold each other and just go like this back and forth a little bit. Just imagine that with violence. This guy can do that. He stands guys up and just shuts them down. He's a bar bouncer that says, you're not allowed to come back in, sir. And he just blocks that door. I've been using that bar reference a lot tonight. I don't know. This kind of works. Okay. Now, as far as the offense, as far as skill positions, I already talked about Roman Hemby, the running back, Indiana, familiar with the quarterback. I love it. I love that we brought in at least 3 or 4 guys from Indiana, that Fernando's going to come right in the door. And it's going to be like they're on college campus together. You know what I mean? It's going to be loose. It's going to be a little bit more fun. The guys are going to be able to intermingle and become Raiders like that. I can't say enough how much I like how I see everything coming together. I can't think of another time in the history of the Raiders, and I'm not joking, not in the history of the Raiders can I remember a time where it was so obvious. We've obviously built teams that have won Super Bowl. So no, I'm not saying that this team is going to be better than those teams. I don't know what they're going to be. All I know is that the way this came together, the fact that we finally got a chance to get a franchise quarterback, and then we get the dynamic center to protect him and bolster the offensive line. We bring in a bunch of very high quality offensive linemen to come in and win other jobs or pressure the starters to get their butts in gear. We brought in defensive ends. We brought in defensive tackles. We brought in wide receivers galore. I mean, I love everything about what we did, and I have absolutely no fear in saying that this squad looks like a playoff team. This squad absolutely looks like a playoff team. Kaylee, I don't think they're going to start Mendoza right away. They definitely want Kirk Cousins to play the first season, but I think some of that might be PR. In other words, and I'm being honest when I say this, I could see the Raiders asking Kirk Cousins to say he's got a pulled hamstring at week 8 or week 7 and just go down, say I have my hamstring and it's bad, and then just limp off the field with a couple coaches helping him off the field and bring in Fernando and let him rip. Now, if you say it's a hamstring pull, then it's okay to bring Kirk Cousins back if Fernando comes out initially and is not good or gets banged up more than we would like, and we just don't want him to do that, and we decide to rein him in a little bit. Kirk Cousins can say, hey, I've been going through therapy. I've been working on the ice and the STEM machine, the therapist, blah, 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 stretch, yoga, gurus, woo! And now I'm going to go back out there. I'm ready to go. And then we just put him back in. Because remember, he's not really hurt. He could just fake an injury to give Fernando his way onto the field. And trust me when I tell you, Kirk Cousins is probably the absolute perfect quarterback to do that with, because Kirk Cousins, over the lifetime of his career, has already earned $400 million. I felt like that should echo with intensity. But that guy has made he has made so much money. He is a multi-millionaire and is going to die with his grandkids, never having a job, more than likely, because Kirk Cousins is not stupid. He'll invest this in business and other things, venture capital. He'll get his kids rich before they graduate from college. I would be willing to bet you. And so all that's set up and just everything's falling into place. Everything. We're getting the running backs. We got the wide receivers. We've already got tight ends. And then we got a tight end that is just a monster as an extra blocking tight end. Matt Lauder. Matt Lauder is just a massive blocking tight end. And we're going to smash people. This offensive line is going to come together right away. We're going to get something, guys, that we're not used to seeing. A turnaround where you strip the car to the nuts and bolts, and it actually works. Alexa, play Hide by NASA. I do not own the copyright to this song. All right, guys, that's my show. Much love. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard, Space Force. For all you do, the energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice, active and veteran. Much love. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. R8RBEAR, R8RBEAR family page. Peace.